everyone, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have the most exciting video for us to do today. I am unboxing the Northern Animal Tarot 2nd edition. Yes, it came with a couple of lovely stickers here, and this I understand from her note that I found here in the box that this is not going to be the bag for the 2nd edition deck, but this is the, oh my gosh, she's so cute. This is an extra bag that she had from her 1st edition, so I'm very, very grateful that that came as well. This is lovely. So let's take a peek at what we have got here. Another thing she had said is that the sticker, there's a sticker on the top of the box, and so you don't have to cut that sticker, they've actually left the bottom of the box open. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at this. Oh, it's stunning. Oh, I love that. So here's the sticker that we were talking about. And with the bottom being open, I love it. We could just slide the cards out down here. So if you guys saw my video earlier, I did one earlier this year when the 1st edition came out. If you haven't seen that, check it out. And I also have done an interview with Linda, which we're going to do another one for this particular deck as well. So I am very, very excited. So we have a really lovely guidebook, and she's a tarot reader herself, which is honestly something you don't always see with deck creators. So you know that when you are getting this little guidebook here, it's from someone who actually reads cards, which will make it, in my opinion, much more applicable. So yeah, lovely little, okay, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is really lovely. Oh, look at the backs. Oh, look at these backs. Let's slide this out and get the full range of motion with what's going on these backs. I don't want to open this, but I'm going to have to, I think. Okay, we're going to, how am I going to do this? Can I slide this out? Maybe I could slide it out in pieces. There we go. Now I don't have to, now I can conserve the integrity of that. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so beautiful. I'm loving this cardstock already. All right, so here we have the most beautiful Northern Animal Tarot 2nd edition. Check out that back. Wow. Okay, so at the end of the video, I'm going to bring in the 1st edition, and we can do a quick little comparison and what we see between the difference between the decks. But this back is spectacular. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's take a look at these cards. What I'm going to do is what I normally do when I'm doing an unboxing video is I'm going to shut up. I'm going to put on some nice music. We're going to flip through the cards so that everyone can kind of see them for themselves. And then if you want to hear what I have to say at the end, keep watching. And if you're just here to take a peek at the cards, then you'll have that option as well. So let's take a look at these stunning cards. Wow. Whoa, I am speechless. I adore this deck. I adored the first edition of this deck. But I am such a sucker for a nicely toned, a nicely, like a lot of depth added to the background. And I'd say like just flipping through, before I even pull the other deck out and do a more side-by-side comparison, look at how much depth there is in the sky and in the backgrounds of these cards. I am blown away. Okay, wait, let's go back to some of the bluer, like that's just, I love that so much. I'm gonna keep this nicely in order, I guess. Here, like, I think it was in the Suit of Swords, I was just oogling. Look at this. Look at the extra dimension that we get from these incredible clouds. Oh, wow. Hold on. These, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this. I love this. I love the updates that she's done to this deck. Look at that as well. This was one that really, really stuck out to me, this Three of Swords. That is such a dynamic card. I think this, like the updates that she's done to the color palette, and especially in the background, like I know she had posted this one on her Instagram comparing both of them, and I was so excited at that point. But just the, like, look at that. Look at how expressive that is. I gotta go grab my other deck. I'll probably actually do a whole separate video comparing each of the cards. But what I do want to tack onto it in this video is at least looking at like just a few cards, just so you guys can get a better understanding of what is different about the second edition. But for me, the sky, the backgrounds, the extra little depth that I'm kind of picking up here from the changes in color palette. I mean, and I love the Raven as the world. That's absolutely perfect. The Raven is one of my favorite animals. And Judgment, that looks like that card is actually emanating light. Like, you know, like, oh, she has done such an incredible job. And look at what she's put into the star too, and all the colors. They just seem so, they're vibrant, they are lively. I am in love with this deck. I didn't think anyone could do anything to take away my love of the first edition. And you can't, because that deck is still and always will be one of my very most favorite decks. I actually took it camping with me on pretty much every camping trip this summer, and reading with that bad boy outside is just a magical experience in itself. And I love that she's kept both the Hierophants as well, so you can either have two if you'd like, or you can sort of pick which Hierophant you like to work with. Wow. Okay, so size-wise, I want to say this deck is actually a bit smaller than the first edition. I gotta go grab that deck before I make all these claims, but the cardstock is different, and I really like this cardstock. It is I guess we would call this a glossy finish. Yes. Cardstock is lovely. It's nice and, I don't know, soft on the edges, nice rounded corners. Feels really nice in the hands, like very easily shuffleable. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle it. There we go. Oh yeah. Look at these backs though. I mean, talk about an illustrated, reversible, stunning back of a card. I don't know why that was such a hard sentence to get out, but look at that. You know, often when you see like a beautifully illustrated back of a deck, I'm always then concerned that we no longer get the reversibility factor, but she has kept that here. Let's take this for a shuffle. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shuffles like a dream right out of the box. Oh, that is comfy in the hand. Okay. I'm speechless. I am so in love. I am so in love with this deck. Let me go grab my first edition. Let's just do a couple of quick comparisons, and then what I'm gonna do is, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do the interview with her, and I'm really, really excited. So I'll have all my questions ready. And I imagine that video will be posted very shortly after this one or with this one. So, oh my gosh. Okay, let me grab the other deck and let's keep diving in here. All right, so I've moved location so I could get a little bit better lighting, and also a bit of a time warp in this video. So when I did the unboxing at the first half, that was when I immediately got the deck. And now it's about a week later, and I've done the interview with Linda. That's actually up on our channel. You can go check that out. So I want to just point out a couple of things that she said in that interview and show them a little more clearly here in the cards. But also, yeah, I do recommend checking out that interview. We had a really good talk about the decks. So on the left here, we have the second edition, and on the right here, we have the first edition. So first thing I'll just say in terms of card size, the cards, I do believe, They're pretty much exactly the same size. So I don't know, how can I, yeah, they're pretty darn close. I think actually the second edition is, it almost feels a hair smaller. You can kind of see on the corners. I would say their width is the same, the height is the same, but I think it maybe almost looks like a different corner rounder. So when I said earlier I thought it was smaller, disregard that. It's actually, I would say, pretty much exactly the same size. But one thing we do notice is that with the cardstock, the second edition, it got a lot thicker. So this is just the tarot portion of the deck. I did take out the extra cards. So you can see how much thicker the deck is now that the, actually, does it show? Might be able to show that. There we go. So you can even kind of just see that between the two boxes, that the cardstock got much thicker, so the deck itself got quite a bit thicker. So I'm not going to go through and do, like I said, an individual comparison, but I did want to talk about a few of the cards. So as she brought up in the interview there, the aces, she really, ooh, she really livened them up. She added a lot of color saturation and really changed a lot in terms of the backgrounds. I did put the deck back in order in the end of the last video there. I was shuffling around, so I will just quickly go through and show the aces here. And we can really just take a peek at the updates. So yeah, you can see the background there. Beautiful work. Oh, so good. But not even just the background. Like, look at all the flowers. Like, this is a lot. There's a lot more going on here. She did quite a lot of updates. She had mentioned in our interview there on the aces. Just absolutely stunning. Let's now pull up the Ace of Swords. 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Try and keep these. Yes. Absolutely beautiful. I really, really like how she's added so much extra life into the aces. I think she did a really, really beautiful job. And then also, yeah, this one, as I had said, this was on her Instagram. So you can really see just how much is different between the two different decks. And, okay, so let's also pull up our Ace of Cups here. There we go. Yeah, so we can see all the extra color saturation here between the two decks. So, the other things I will show, just to kind of give a closer side by side, let's take a look at the world card. So we've moved from the opossum to the raven. Yes, beautiful. And the other thing she said in her interview, which I didn't notice immediately, I actually didn't notice it until she said it, because I mean, she did zoom in the majors a little bit on each of the cards in the second edition. And this card, I don't know, like I said that to her in the interview, you can hear this crackling. Like, it's just the most beautiful piece of art I've seen on a candle with the little, oh, it's stunning. It's so, so, so beautiful. So you'll notice that as well. Those are the major changes, of course, is the different color palette, or the color saturation, I should say. And it really stood out to me there when I was doing that unboxing part in the blue, the more blue and purple tones. So oh boy, let's try not to get these all too mixed up, but here's our second edition, here's our first edition. So yeah, you can see that little bit zoomed in more. The other thing I will show, just sort of as a direct comparison, is the shadow cards. So yeah, I use this deck personally. Like, I will use the 78 cards as a tarot deck, and then I'll use the extra cards as an oracle, pretty much with it. So this is my favorite. I just have the coolest experiences with that card, and he is just amazing. But what she did do in the shadow cards is brighten them up a little bit, so you can see what's going on a little bit more clearly. And because there's so much detail in here that I'm really glad that she did do the brightening up, because you can see it a lot more clearly. It doesn't get quite so lost. I didn't even notice the little dude under the bridge. Well, maybe I did, but I don't know what I thought it was. If it was just maybe, I don't know, leaves and sticks or something. But here I could really quite clearly see there's another creature coming up under the bridge. So amazing. Just absolutely stunning. So what I will say now that it's been a week and I've had a chance to actually do some readings with this deck, which one is my favorite? Eek. I cannot tell you which one is my favorite, because honestly, they do both speak with such a voice that's very, very different. I do still absolutely adore the more muted color palette that we see here in the first edition. I think it's like, it's such a classic, and we talked about that too in our interview. This one is much more of a vintage, more antique feel, whereas this one is a lot more modern, brighter, more expressive. So while I think both of these tap really well into working with the energy of the natural world and the animal kingdom and such. One of them does it in a way that's a little more subtle wisdom, and the other one is a little more outward stated wisdom, if that makes any sense. But I will plan on doing an individual flip through video. If you guys want to see that, let me know, and I can go through and do a card by card comparison. But this is honestly, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, because I'm not personally typically drawn to working with animal decks, but both of these speak so clearly to me. I usually have a hard time getting, I don't know, different sort of expressions out of the cards, and I don't usually, when I work with animal themed tarot decks, they don't speak to me too much. This is the absolute exception to that rule, and it is an exception in spades, because we see, like, she did such an excellent job of giving their face so much expression and so much emotion, and I really do. If you've seen any of my videos, I tap into that a lot while I'm doing readings, as I'll look at not just what's happening around, but also, here we go, you just compare those two side by side. But there's so much going on in his little face, you know. You can really work with that, I find, a lot easier than if there's just a picture of an animal on a card. So she did, I think, an incredible job of this deck overall, in terms of having it readable, having it still very cute, and a storyteller, fairy tale kind of a theme, but it doesn't go light, guys. It is not a deck, like, I do have hug decks, decks what it's like, I would never use them for a client, of course, but reading for myself, if I just want a little bit of a reassurance, and I know that's all I'll find from a deck, I would not consider this a hug deck at all. It is very real. It is an excellent reflection of real life, as I think a well-rounded tarot deck should be. So I think this would make a really fantastic first deck, or second deck. And where I say second deck as well is, if you're really familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism, you'll have no problem picking this up and reading with it, and just taking that a little bit further, because it's not a complete clone, right? She did a lot with each of the cards, and there's just so much to see. Oh, that was another one I had brought up in the, hold on, let's, yes, here we go. It was really in the blues. That really took me somewhere. So yeah, you can see just that extra little saturation there in that second edition. It's beautiful. So with that though, because I don't often myself pick up first and second editions of a deck, but I would honestly say, my actual honest opinion is that if you have one, you wouldn't regret picking up the other, because they are in many ways very similar, but they've got so much that works with you very differently. I don't feel like I have two of the same decks. And in fact, I've actually been carrying both of these around with me for the past week. And every time I've had a question, it has really drawn me one way or the other towards which of the decks that I end up using. So I will never be retiring my first edition because it's just such a stunning deck. But I'm really happy to have this second edition as well, because it's an absolutely beautiful deck. The artwork is incredible. Like I said, you're reading a deck made by a reader, and it reads like an absolute dream. It shuffles really well. I showed that in the last little bit. But yeah, it is a little bit thicker. So if you do have the first edition, things to know, a little bit thicker. Cardstock is, yeah, a little bit thicker. We've gone from the linen matte cardstock to a more glossy, here we go. Up the light, yes, there we go, to a more glossy finish. It's spectacular. It's really stunning. I just thought of something I wanted to also show. Oh yeah, because that was what she had said last thing. She had said this in the interview, that there was a couple of things after working with the deck more that she realized she wanted to add in, and I didn't actually even notice this before, but she added the cliff, the bottom of the cliff here in the bottom of the Seven of Wands. That wasn't there in the first edition. So very cute, cool little add-ons, which I think it would definitely be worth going through and doing an individual card by card comparison, so I could really see all the extra little tidbits that she added. But guys, this deck is stunning. It is very much so worth adding to your collection if you are an outdoor person, if you're a nature lover, if you are someone who camps and hikes and takes tarot decks with them out into the wilderness, much like myself. I would highly recommend this deck to you. The tarot deck is, of course, phenomenal. And then you also get all of the additional, I should be showing, I guess, the second edition here, all of the extra cards that came with it. And I'll just tell you from personal experience that these seasonal cards work really, really well. In terms of timing, if you're wanting to tap into when something is going to happen, when is the best time to do a particular thing, I do find that I will use even just these 3 cards, or I can shuffle around depending on what I'm looking at. Even that seed card is very interesting when you're looking at timing questions. But anyways, I digress. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll link everything below. You can check out my first edition video. You can check out our the interview that I just did with Linda about this deck. You can check out the first interview, and of course the Kickstarter, where this is going to be available until, I believe, December 21st. Yes, it's until the solstice. This is 2021. So if you're watching this before, then you can pick it up there. Otherwise, she said if there's any extra listed or any extra copies left over after the Kickstarter, she'll be listing them on her website. So we can link that as well to check that all out. But thanks again for watching. Hope you are having a wonderful day, and we will catch you again next time.